Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. Atmosphere in role-playing games can be created in multiple ways. Visuals and the graphics in general can be really important for the atmosphere that the game is trying to create, but it's far from being the only thing responsible for the atmosphere. Your interaction with the world around you, NPC behavior, the music, and the narrative are really important things for setting a certain mood in the game. But since the atmosphere is not a mechanic in the game, at least not on a technical level, this can be a highly subjective topic. If you're only playing these games for the gameplay, you probably don't care for immersion or atmosphere, and that's okay. But if you're one of those players who prefer to get lost in these magical worlds, this aspect of the game becomes really important. You start noticing little subtle details you wouldn't otherwise pay attention to. Anyway, here are some of my thoughts about this topic and all the things I consider important for creating a great atmosphere. When I mentioned graphics, I didn't just mean the overall quality of the visuals. I don't think that anyone would be bothered by a great looking game. Everyone likes to see some amazing vistas and high detailed worlds. This is something that is constantly pushing the technology forward, so it definitely deserves some recognition. But when it comes to atmosphere in RPGs, I consider art style to be way more important. If artists are really skilled, they can even mask the lack of budget with amazing concepts and unique themes. Whether they aim for a constant style for the whole map or multiple biomes with different styles, the atmosphere should always follow the vibe of the art style. To put it simply, the game should always be consistent with its atmosphere but still flexible enough to adapt to different zones in the game. For example, two games that are on top of my mind when it comes to this are The Witcher 3 and the Gothic 3. When you finally reach Skellige after dozens of hours in Velen, you will hardly miss the huge change of atmosphere in the game. While this zone definitely looks different from Velen, the visuals are just one part of the atmosphere. This is where the music kicks in. It just shows you how important are the sound and the music for creating a certain mood in the game. I think that everyone can agree that good soundtrack in the game goes a long way. It's tremendously important for creating appropriate atmosphere in the game, whether you're fighting, traveling, or just taking a break. I mentioned Gothic 3 as an example for multiple zones in the game with different themes. When you travel to different zone, you'll immediately notice a different theme. The music and sound effects in this game are so appropriate for the zone that you're in, and they complement the visuals perfectly. Walking through the forest feels really different from exploring the desert or the snowy mountains. One more atmospheric aspect that falls into graphic category is the lighting. I really like games that are not afraid to make the nights actually dark, but they have to know how to implement lighting properly. This of course wouldn't be possible without day and night cycle, but RPGs had this feature since forever basically. Exploring the same area at nighttime should feel really different, but it seems like many RPGs are afraid of making the nights actually dark. Nighttime in games is especially important if the game itself is considered challenging. Constant feel of danger really adds to experience, especially when you can't see without a light source. But in order to pull this off, you have to have a decent AI behavior in your game, so it's understandable why some games don't go with this design philosophy. For example, in Piranha Bytes games, when you start exploring at night, most of the beasts are sleeping, which can give you an edge if you decide to attack them, or you can just easily sneak by. This is a good time to mention NPC schedules as well, which is another really important thing for creating immersion and atmosphere in the game. It's always nice to see how these NPCs are living their life. When I first saw this kind of behavior in the game, I immediately thought to myself, wow, I can't wait to see how much this will improve in the future. This was way back when I played Gothic 2, but sadly this system didn't improve that much over the years. We have yet to see some advanced AI behavior in RPGs, and I just hope that developers know how important this is for creating an amazing single player experience. I know that NPCs in games will never behave like real people, but if you give them more freedom and mechanics, the game world would feel much more alive and believable. This is probably really hard to code, and I get that, but I think that people who like these games would highly appreciate this. And the last, but the most obvious thing that creates the atmosphere in the game is the story. I left this for the very end, because if the story is very good, it becomes much easier to immerse yourself into the game, even if some of the features we talked about are mediocre. Engaging story and amazing cutscenes will always create a good atmosphere, at least for that particular moment, but these other features that we mentioned will keep you immersed throughout the whole experience. And what games that you played had the best atmosphere and why? I would like to hear your opinion about this topic in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. My channel is based around RPGs, I do in-depth guides, news and reviews. Special thanks to my patrons and exclusive YouTube members, and if you as well want to become one of them, all the links are in the description. See ya in the next one.